Thanks for tuning into the 6-3 podcast. I'm your host, Joel, with my co-host, Ben. And this week we are going to talk more college bowl games, and we're going to talk Detroit Lions football and then prep you for maybe a little bit of pre-prep. So it's super pre-prep for the Michigan TCU game New Year's Eve. We'll kind of lightly talk about that. Maybe have Ben fill in the blanks for National Signing Day news and transfer portal updates.
Sure. There's been a lot, actually.
Yeah, there's been some moves. Michigan has, I think, 27th in the nation in signing day, and I think they're first still for transfer portal.
Yeah, it's been they were moving up the board yesterday, signing day wise too. So I think it'll probably finish the top 20 class,
they're hoping to get a few more flips. I heard a guy from Notre Dame.
Which is not. I mean, they've been a top 10 class for the most part under Harbaugh, so it's one of the lower classes, but. They've kind of filled in some gaps with the transfer portal, which is cool to see. So,
and per your retweet, 2018 was one of their worst classes of all time, and the guy that intercepted CJ Stroud was like really late, and I think Hassan Haskins with his 5 touchdowns was like 976.
Yep.
So it's like Harbaugh
does a good job evaluating and developing. So
yeah, developing's huge. Yeah.
Up until they prove otherwise, I'm not going to sit here and complain about a poor class. Now that they have had really good classes as well. So, I don't think you can like discount the stars or the numbers on that necessarily. But if you have an off class, that doesn't necessarily bury you, in my opinion. That's, Harbaugh has proven that to this point. So
yeah,
you can't do this over and over and over again though. So we'll see where it goes, but the portal changes a lot. It changes.
It's one of the best portal pickups I think I've ever seen in recent memory. So
yeah, they fill a lot.
Obviously, the portal had like 1,800, 1,900 guys in it this year. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, well, they opened it up. They changed it this year, so they opened it up earlier, and they opened up the timing on how it worked this year. So it kind of changed how guys were thinking about it. And yeah, I mean, back in the day, you saw transfers even 6, 7, 8 years ago. Most of them were grad transfers initially, or they were guys that, had multiple years of eligibility. And now you're seeing all ins, and you're seeing guys that with the COVID years too, you're seeing guys transfer after graduating that still have 2, maybe 3 years of eligibility. And it's kind of nuts.
Even like 5 years ago, that's when I think more of the trend came when like coaches left, and it's like follow the coach. And now it's like just willy-nilly. So
yeah, it's all over the place. And I get it. Harbaugh was actually a super proponent of the one-time free transfer. The problem is the NCAA has opened it up to where it's not really one time, it's just a free reign, right? And I understand the one-time free transfer completely. Like, hey, you either make a mistake, or there's a coaching change, or there's just it just doesn't work out for you. You need to move back home for a family reason or whatever. That's fine. You can go back and have the transfer not affect your. You can play right away. Or we need to play right away. But now JT Daniels is going to be on his like 5th school. He's back in the transfer portal.
Alan Bowman's going to his 3rd.
Bowman's going to his 3rd. And some of those guys are in great situations every time, and it makes sense for them to go. Like now, Bowman
Johnson.
Yeah, the Alan Bowman situation makes sense, right? He wanted to get another chance to compete, got a Michigan degree. He's probably going to leave with 3 or 4 degrees after this, all paid for. Good for him, right? But in certain situations, it's like these guys have been all over the place, right? It's like NFL free agency almost, which I'm not sure if that's really in the spirit of what they want and what the idea behind it was, but they had to know when they did this that was going to happen. So,
and I think that's kind of what separates college football from the NFL. And some people like college football more for the reason because it doesn't feel like they're so greedy. They have something to play for.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, well, with NIL deals, it does change. That adds a little bit of the greed factor. Yeah. And now the transfer portal means they can go do whatever they want willy-nilly.
Yeah, and if we're being honest, it's not really NIL. It's pay for play. At this point, it's not being regulated. It's not. obviously they're getting paid because of who they are, right? But it's pay for play. I mean, they're getting promised amounts of money before they even get to the school, right? And that is what it is, right? And right, wrong, I'm not going to sit here and argue about that right now, but that's probably you could probably have a whole podcast about that, but it's not necessarily. Again, I don't think it's in the spirit of what they wanted, but the NCAA completely stepped away from all of it when they allowed it because they didn't want the pushback in the court and then all these other things. So they stepped away from it completely, and now it's a wild west out there, and these teams are offering up all kinds of money for high schoolers, right? And some schools are not going to play that game, some schools are, and we'll just kind of see where it falls. So
Let's talk college bowl games. Obviously, we didn't get to the one yesterday. I believe that was Toledo and South Alabama.
No, it was Western Kentucky and South Alabama.
Western Kentucky, yes. Okay, you're right.
The
we did the Toledo was the last one we did. Yeah.
Yes, okay. The former home of what's his name for the
Bailey Zappi.
Yeah. Well, they still throw the ball, if you wondered.
They do. Yeah. Well, and South Alabama is, I think, the former home of Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
Or was he West Alabama? He was West Alabama.
He might have been West Alabama, but Austin Reed for Western Kentucky threw for 497 yards last night.
And he already had 44 touchdowns total this year already.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. He's the last the last 2 games they've as a team, not just him, but as a team they've thrown for over 1,000 yards.
Western Kentucky's is the Texas Tech of the. I mean, times 10.
Throw the ball. They throw the ball like crazy. They're kind of fun to watch. So,
so yeah, let's get to the. I mean, right now it's early enough where I still feel comfortable we can make this Air Force Baylor pick for the Armed Forces Bowl. Yeah. Right now, Air Force does have a 6-0 lead with 3 minutes left in the first. But I mean, I think the way Air Force plays this year, they actually play very tight defense, very disciplined. Most of these military schools are already very disciplined schools.
Yep.
But with Hazik Daniels, the quarterback for Air Force, having 733 yards passing on the year, that just goes to show that they still run their very famous wing 3-back offense, and Baylor's got a pretty balanced offense. Blake Shapen's been pretty good this year for him, but I'm leaning towards Air Force in this game, and I actually think it's going to be close. I bet this game was within 2 points of each other. If I had to put a score, I'd say 27-25, some weird score.
I'm going to pick Air Force as well. I'm going to pick it 21-17.
They got the white running back, Brad Roberts, that has 1,600 plus rush yards this year. It's you almost, even though they have 3 guys.
Well, and I think them getting the lead early here is a big deal because if they get the ball back, they're just going to bleed clock. I mean, you saw Michigan played them years ago, and it was just annoying, right? And Michigan finally won by 20. I think they won by 22 in the end, right? But it's that was not fun to watch, right? Because they take the air out of the ball, they bleed the clock, they make you earn it, right? And you have to make big play. You can't make mistakes, right? Because if you make mistakes or you turn the ball over or you don't execute at a high level, they'll beat you before you know it. So
All right. The Independence Bowl is tomorrow at 3 p.m. That's going to be Louisiana Lafayette Ragin' Cajuns, and Houston Cougars are also playing in that game. I think Clayton Tune is expected to play, right? He doesn't have a whole lot of draft stock right now, but he's been a pretty quality quarterback for a while for Houston. And when you mix it with basically the combo of Nathaniel Dell as a receiver there, another guy that's had a really good year, I think that's going to be a difference maker in this game. I'm leaning towards Houston in this game.
I'm going to lean Houston, and I think they'll win by a couple touchdowns. Tune's pretty good. I think he's got an NFL future. I don't know at what capacity, but I think
backup probably. But yeah,
I think he'll get a shot for sure. Dell, I think, will certainly get a good shot eventually. He's a junior. He's got over 100 catches this year, over 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns. So he's been really good. Tune also leads their team in rushing, which is they don't run the ball very much.
Yeah, they're
But
Western Kentucky as
but
well.
he's a good athlete, and I really do think he's going to get a good look in the NFL. So he's got the size for the NFL. So I think they'll give him a good shot. So I will go Houston by probably a couple touchdowns at least.
Okay. Let's go to the Gasparilla Bowl, where the
Yeah,
7-5 Wake Forest Demon Deacons take on the Missouri Tigers, who are 6-6. Sam Hartman, man, I know how much you love your Sam Hartman.
love Sam Hartman.
And once again, followed up last year with another really quality year. I think he was hurt early on in the year too, so those numbers could be even more absurd. 35 touchdown passes this year and over 3,400 passing yards, missing the first 2 or 3 games. I'm taking Wake Forest, and I think the spread was somewhere around 3, and I think they cover the spread. So
Yeah, I'll take Wake as well. I do actually like Missouri's quarterback,
Cook,
Brady
right?
Cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brady Cook. He's only a sophomore. I think maybe 2 years from now, I think he'll get some NFL looks. He's a little undersized. He's only like 6'2", but he can run. He's got a good arm, so I do like him. But I like Sam Hartman a lot. I think he's got a chance to be really good. I think he's got a chance in the NFL as well. Like I said, he had 35 touchdowns last year. He had 39, and he he did miss like a good chunk of 3 games. So he's good. A.T. Perry's a really good receiver for them as well. So I think this might be a pretty good game though. That could be one to tune into tomorrow night.
Okay. Let's go to the Hawaii Bowl. Middle Tennessee State is going to take on San Diego State.
Game's always
And
on. This game is always on at the Christmas party, Christmas Eve that we're at every single year.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Christmas Eve. Both teams are 7-5. ESPN has it as relatively close at almost a 50-50 split. But I think Vegas has the odds of San Diego State -7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take Middle Tennessee and the upset. I mean, if you want to call it an upset, I think this is where they break out Peasant in the run game. I mean, Cunningham's been doing a lot of work in the pass game this year, but I think they're going to see what they have with the running backs now because they're young guys and they want to see what they can establish for the future there.
I'll take San Diego State. I want to take Middle Tennessee, but you already took them because I know one of the guys that is one of their DB coaches. I played baseball with him growing up, but I'll take the Fighting Brady Hoax. So
Fighting Brady Hoax.
They're going to do it for Ronnie Hillman. Rest in peace.
Oh, that's rest in peace. Yeah, this morning.
Yeah,
I feel like I didn't ever hear that he actually had cancer until
I didn't either until like 3 days ago, and then he died.
He was like a 1.5 year wonder.
He was great that 1 year. He was really good. Honestly, I really liked him in college. I remember they played against Michigan 1 year. He ran for over 100 yards. And I was like, okay, this guy's really good. And then
eventually he just got phased out with like no Sean Moreno coming in there, and Monty Ball also took some snaps for a minute.
They actually had a lot of good backs on that team, like in consecutive years that were really good in college that weren't as good in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Quick Lane Bowl. And that will be on the 26th since there are no games on Christmas this year. 2:30 p.m. New Mexico. What's that?
There is some NFL though.
There is some NFL games, yes. So New Mexico State will take on Bowling Green. And this is another 50-50 game, I think. Probably flip a coin and just decide, but both teams are 6-6, so bottom feeders that got in. I'm gonna take. I feel like I could take another. It's a 50-50 game, so I'm just gonna take New Mexico State. It's gonna be really close. Like, give me like by 4 points.
I'm gonna take BGSU. Close. I like their quarterback.
McDonald.
McDonald's pretty good. He's been around for a little bit. He's a senior. Doesn't really turn the ball over. Scott Loeffler, is he still their head coach?
I think he is. Yeah.
So I like him. He's cool. So We'll take Bowling Green in that one. Probably a close one though.
Yeah. All right, the Camellia Bowl with
Oh,
Georgia Southern and Buffalo.
yep.
6-6 teams again. So not some of they're getting these games out of the way now. But man, I like Van Treese a lot as a quarterback for Georgia Southern.
Mhm.
I think he's a really good quarterback, actually. He had a better year last year, so he kind of went down a little bit. But
Let's turn the ball
I
here.
I think Georgia Southern is gonna win by like 10 in this one.
All right. I'm gonna take Buffalo in an upset.
Okay.
Mo Linguist is their head coach. Was briefly at Michigan, so we'll take him. A little bit of an upset here. Buffalo's just been kind of one of those teams in the recent years. I feel like they're always kind of right there, decent enough to make a bowl. They had Khalil Mack went there, did he not? Years
Yeah, he
ago.
did.
I remember that team. Yeah, they had a really good team. They had like 11-win team one year when he was there. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, I think the line's 3.5, so I'll take Buffalo by 3 or 4.
Okay. The first responder bowl, that will be the Memphis Tigers 6-6 taking on another 6-6 Utah State Aggies. I'm gonna take Memphis by like 17. Memphis actually like looks like a pretty good. I've seen 2 games of Memphis this year, not all the way through, but from what I've caught of Memphis, it's like they move the ball well.
Mhm.
Hennigan's been a good quarterback for him, and yeah, I feel like this game is going to be one of the few blowouts of the bowl games.
Yeah, I like Utah State's running back, Tyler, but
Hmm.
I will take Memphis. I don't think it'll be that close. Memphis is a better team. I know they're
Hmm.
6-6. I don't, both teams aren't great, but I think Memphis is
Yeah,
better.
I guess that
Utah State,
to my
Utah
admission,
State is lucky to be there.
I haven't watched any Utah State. I'm just basing on what I've seen from Memphis in a couple games.
Yeah, and I think Utah
And
State's just lucky to be there.
yeah,
I don't think they're that. I mean, they're a borderline bowl team anyway. They just happen
yeah,
to get as
not
much.
in a strong division either. Yeah.
No, no.
Or conference on that. Yeah. All right, then we'll go to the Birmingham Bowl. Coastal Carolina 9-3 are going to take on East Carolina 7-5, but McCall is in the transfer portal. He is not playing this game.
Yeah.
Um, Allers is going to play for East Carolina. I think that changes the outcome of this game. I think if McCall plays, I'm taking Coastal, but I'll probably take East Carolina in this one. Mitchell's had a really nice year in the run game for them as well. So yes, give me East Carolina.
Yeah, Mitchell averages 7.5 yards per carry. He's over 1,300 yards on only 179 attempts.
He's fast. I've watched some highlights on top 10
Yeah,
ESPN. He's had like a couple ESPN top 10 runs this year.
explosive.
So.
Yeah, he's explosive. I will also take East Carolina. If McCall played, that would be a difference maker. But he's transferring. Did he pick a spot yet?
Not that I saw. I don't think so. He's one of the top transfer candidates when I checked like 2 days ago.
McCall. Let's see. Um, Possibly Florida. Curious.
Graham Mertz just went to Florida, so I don't think he's going.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be going. He was going to visit Auburn. Yeah, maybe Auburn. There's some decent QBs in the portal.
Yeah.
Hudson Hart,
Isn't Ayuga still in there? Or did he commit?
Lele. I heard Hawaii for him, which is absurd.
I heard UCLA, but
I heard UCLA just got 2 different. Dante Moore just went to UCLA, and they just got a
oh,
transfer. So he's not going to UCLA.
yeah, probably not. Dante Moore's going now too. Yeah.
So I heard Hawaii. Hawaii had 100% of his crystal balls, which is absurd.
That's not a bad fit. I mean, it puts
No,
Hawaii
it's a
back on
great fit, but it's like
puts Hawaii back on the map.
5-star QB going to Hawaii. I don't think has ever happened before.
I mean, he's going to look like Timmy Chang. That's what's going to
What I
happen.
mean, his coach is Timmy Chang.
But Timmy Chang was elite when he played for
You're
Hawaii.
right, and so was Colt Brennan there too.
Yeah, Cole Brennan had some good years there.
Colt Brennan broke Timmy Chang's records. So Colt Brennan is died. He's dead.
Yeah, R.I.P. He died several years ago, but yeah.
Timmy Chang did. He's the head coach.
So yeah, I'm taking East Carolina. You said you got East Carolina too, unless McCall plays. I mean that's kind of the same boat for me, but I don't think he's playing.
No.
So then we'll go to the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. with the Wisconsin Badgers taking on Oklahoma State Cowboys. Is this the first bowl game with the Big Ten team?
Yep. Mertz isn't going to play, is he?
I doubt it. He just committed to Florida.
Right.
So I don't know if he's already decided on a school. That's weird. That's like Cade McNamara still playing for
Yeah,
Michigan.
there's no way.
So, yeah. And Spencer Sanders is going to play for Oklahoma State. And I actually think Spencer Sanders is good enough. Braylon Allen confirmed he's staying in Wisconsin. So that talk early on in the middle of the year has not come to fruition. So the running game could be effective. And it's like, part of me wants to be, pick Big Ten. I just think without Mertz and Wisconsin really not being able to move the ball with Mertz or without Mertz this year, I'm going to take Spencer Sanders, who seems to be able to get it done on with his own feet and with his arm. So I'm going to take Oklahoma State.
I'll take Wisconsin. I'll be different. Okay. I have no idea who's going to play for him, the quarterback. Chase Wolf, maybe. But I think Braylon Allen will have a pretty good day, and I think they'll just play good enough defense to get it done. So
maybe let Luke Fickell on the sideline.
Yeah, he might be there. You never know.
Paul Christ will not probably be there. So
no, he's gone.
He's well gone. I think that was all of them, because I think the next one's going to be December 28th, and that'll be Wednesday. And I at least anticipate we'll try to get our show done by Tuesday night.
Probably do a Tuesday show if we can get it done.
Okay, and then that's when we'll also talk Michigan football.